Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Erica and I am so excited to jump into today's video because if you were following me around a year ago, then you should have seen my highly requested craft fair related video where I talked about everything pertaining to craft fairs and you guys loved it. So since I had such a positive reaction and I had so many people in the comments saying how much that video helped them, I thought it would be a great idea to go ahead and share another income stream for not only my small business owners, but my crafters, makers, DIYers, or really anyone with just a good eye. I'm referring to consignment shops, local stores, and in my case, antique malls. Now, hang on, I know what you're thinking, but before you shut down the whole idea, hear me out first, and then I will actually take you to the antique mall, show you my booth setup, and we'll talk about displays. So hopefully by the end of this video, you guys will have a better understanding of it and you'll have another income stream that you can go and try out for yourself. So let me start by saying that I have consistently made a decent profit every single month that I have been selling my products at this antique mall for about 2 years now. Now, if we're being completely honest, I wouldn't have thought in a million years that I would be selling my small business products at an antique mall. I didn't think that was something that you could do. A consignment shop, sure. Definitely some local stores, especially if they're more like, you know, boutique related. But until I saw for myself at this specific antique mall how many other vendors there were that are clearly small business owners selling their handmade products. And there's also a ton of vendors that just resell their everyday shopping finds from garage sales, or maybe they buy some wholesale decor online or anything like that. You guys will see what I'm talking about later. Now, I do understand that not all antique stores are like this. Some of them only accept vendors that are selling like vintage items or actual antiques, but there are some out there that have a more like pawn shop style vibe, I would say, where you bring in your items and they give you cash for it and then they resell it on their own terms. But the majority of antique stores or malls that I have seen are the booth rental types where a vendor submits an application to become a vendor at that antique store and then they set up a booth and sell their products, and they pay a monthly booth rental fee, along with the store will also collect a small percentage of each sale. So with that being said, I obviously have to recommend that you do your research before you go and apply to be a vendor at one of these stores. You want to go for reputable stores that have good reviews. And I also recommend that maybe you go and shop around at some of these stores, like just as a normal customer. Don't even ask about renting a space there until you shop there as a customer, so that number one, you get an authentic first impression and you can see how good the customer service is for the employees that actually work there. You can see how, you know, nice and well kept the store is, because you obviously don't want to become a vendor at a store where your products are going to be badly represented, or you don't want to put your products in a run-down antique store that hardly gets any customers. I think being able to sell your products at like an actual physical location without you having to spend the money on opening a store yourself is awesome, especially if your small business doesn't have a website or anything like that. Then you can just refer all of your customers to this local store where they can go and support you and buy your products there. But I think my absolute favorite part about it is it's almost a passive income. And what I mean by that is, if you are a small business owner or a maker or crafter or whatever, and you are making handmade products and you were willing to do craft fairs, then this isn't much different. It's actually a lot less work in my opinion, because I've done both, so I can honestly say that. So when you break it down, whether you're doing a craft fair or you're doing a consignment shop or an antique store or emporium or whatever, you still have to go and find all of the products that you're reselling, or if you're hand making your products, you still have to go and buy all your supplies and then make all of your products. And then in either case, you have to do inventory and tag all of your products and set up your booth just like you would with a craft fair. But in this case, the only difference is once you set up your booth, you get to leave, wait a month, and then collect the check. Now, obviously, you might need to periodically stop in your booth and kind of restock, move some stuff around, front items. I'll talk about that later also. But overall, I just think it is so worth it to not have to sit somewhere all day and sell your own products. For me personally, I know it seems like I am super outgoing and I do love my customers, but I truly am not like a huge social person. I would consider myself more introverted. So in my case, I much rather do this than do craft fairs, solely because with craft fairs you have to sit there, sell your products all day. Usually it's outside, so you're in, you know, the heat or the sun or the cold, you know, depending on the season that you're selling, obviously. But then you're having to sit there all day and converse with customers and all of that, which I've never had like a terrible craft fair experience. But my social battery does run down the longer I am like, you know, in a crowd of people talking to the general public. I'm sure you guys understand what I'm talking about. It's just draining and tiring. So for someone that's kind of introverted and more of a homebody like me, this is fantastic. So if you're more on the shy side, then I think this is definitely something that you should check out. So now let's go ahead and jump into the businessy side of renting a booth at this store. So the space that I rent, I pay around $100 a month, and the store actually takes 12% of every sale that they make. But even when I first started, I always made a really good profit, even after my booth rent and all of my product expenses were deducted. So for example, I think like my last check was like right around $1,000, and around 700 of that was actual profit. So for just having to go, you know, set up the booth, restock your items, I didn't go into the store at all other than when I put the items up, and then I got to collect that check at the end of the month. So that's why I was saying it's pretty much passive. You'd be doing all of the same work that you would be doing if you were participating in craft fairs, minus having to stand there and sell your products all day. And on that note, because the booth that I rent is at a pretty decently sized antique mall, there are a ton of other vendors there. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of people in there that they don't even make handmade products. They are just reselling things that they find at garage sales. There are some people that are buying like home decor items like at wholesale prices and then reselling it, obviously, and then they just resell it for the profit. There are several vendors in the store that rent several spaces, so their income is even higher. I am talking $10,000 to $20,000, you guys. Now obviously I don't know what they are actually spending, so I don't know how much of that is actually profit, but I was definitely impressed when I heard that. So keep your mind open, because I know that 12% really does sound like a lot, like when you think about it. But again, it's less work for you. You're not having to stand there and sell your products. But I know a ton of people out there that have small businesses and they completely run their businesses through Etsy. They don't have a website. They don't sell their stuff anywhere. They only run their shops through Etsy, and they take 6.5%, which obviously is less than 12%. But if someone is Googling your item and comes across your shop through Google with Etsy's offsite ads, then they charge an additional 15% on top of your 6.5%. And don't forget that you have to pay 20 cents per listing, and every time an item sells, you get charged another 20 cents on top of that. And that's also not including, you know, shipping fees or any of that if you cover that. So I think that the 12% that the store charges me is worth it. It was actually a little bit less a few months ago, but because of inflation and the way the economy is right now, it did raise a tiny bit. But again, I still think that is so worth it, comparatively speaking to how much work you really put into it. But on top of that, I would definitely much rather share a percentage of my profits with a small business owner like myself than the top dogs at Etsy. So hopefully, with all that being said, your interest is still piqued, and we'll go ahead and get into booth displays and talk about how you can run a successful booth, because the way your booth and products are displayed does matter, just like with craft fairs. So let's go ahead to the store and I'll show you guys my small little space, and we'll just talk about what to do and what not to do for your booth display. Alright guys, so we're here at the antique mall and this is my little spot. I actually just downsized from a regular booth. This one's about half the rent. I don't have a ton of knickknacks. A lot of the stuff that I sell is like some of my old decor, stuff that I found on clearance or garage sales or whatever. But I mainly sell, my tea towels, freshies, and tumblers here and there. But my biggest seller is my t-shirts, as you guys can see. So this spot was perfect because it was mainly pegboard. I still need to decorate it a little bit more, but we will do that maybe in another vlog at some point. So moving right along, I love that this vendor displayed those like potato sack, burlap sacks on that ladder there. The stacked crates are awesome. Everything's organized. Moving right along, I like that this vendor has all of the records alphabetized and organized in these crates here. Makes it super easy to go through. I love that this vendor just beautifully displays everything. It almost looks like a boutique or something, but this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. One of the ones that buys, home decor like wholesale and then resells it for profit, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's no different than a boutique or something. I absolutely love this vendor and everything that she sells. The crates on the wall, such a good idea. It just really like draws your eye all over because you just want to look at everything. There's just something to look at everywhere, but it's not like overwhelming because it is like beautifully displayed. You know what I mean? Okay, moving right along. I like that this one has all of their stuff organized and everything is like front faced. There's no like missing holes. This is one of those vendors here where you can tell they just like buy stuff and resell it, like a lot of garage sale type stuff. You might find a good find in there, but it's a lot of junk. It's kind of cluttered. I hate looking through booths like this because I'm just afraid I'm going to knock something over and break it. Here's another one that displays things nicely. And they have stuff all over the table, but it's not like overwhelming. I'm not afraid I'm going to like knock something over picking it up. Here's another one that displays their stuff beautifully. I like that this vendor used these like cable spools to display all their things. They just stacked them, but it is really crowded. It's another one where I feel like if I pick something up, I'm going to knock something over. But there's plenty of room to walk around this booth. There's just a lot to look at. Love that tiered ladder display, all the shelving in here. Looks like everything's kind of organized by category. Love that. I love when people like do tiered displays and just stack stuff up. Not to where everything's going to fall over and topple over everything, but it just really like draws your eye all around the booth. Here's another one, tiered display. Love the greenery. Love the use of the hutch and the tables. Everything's organized. Love the use of that wine rack with those rolling pins. The pegboard. Everything's clearly tagged. Here's another one, beautifully displayed. Another one that buys a lot of wholesale stuff and resells it. But love how she displays everything. So cute. There's just so much to look at. Ugh, I love this stuff. More stack crates on the wall. Love that. Tiered displays. Here for it. Pegboard. Yes. Good job. I love it. Okay, moving right along. Here's another one. Okay, they stack some stuff on top of the tables. I like that they kind of use quilts to cover up their tables. Kind of fits, her aesthetic. Got some glass cases. Okay, so here's another one. It looks like a lot of like garage sale stuff. To me, it's kind of cluttered. Here's another one. They got some Minnie Mouse flip-flops back there. Some random clothes on a rack over here. You see what I mean? It really does matter how you display your things, because sometimes you just like look at a booth and you don't even want to go through it. Oh, here's one that is kind of cutely displayed. Lots of stuff to look at. It's a little cluttered, especially the floor area. I can only like step in a couple feet here. I can't really like step back there and like look what's back there because there's not a whole lot of room. Okay, here's another one that sells like wax melts and candles. She uses a pegboard to display her stuff. Here's another one. I hate that when you have your booth so tightly fit and you just have so much stuff in there and it's too hard to move around in. Again, I don't even want to go in those booths. So I feel like you're missing out on customers because I'm sure I'm not the only one that's like that. I would rather not risk breaking something and having to pay for it. You know what I mean? Okay, here's another one that sells a lot of like old garage sale stuff, some vintage stuff, but it's pretty organized by category. The floor's not cluttered. There's lots of space. I don't mind this one at all. I like that this one hung their lights and stuff up above and used the plugins to test them out. That one's kind of bare. She needs to kind of work on that. That one is like way too tight. I'm not even going to try to go in there. Yeesh. Okay, here's another one. Lots of old finds. You can kind of move around. There's enough space. Oh, here's another one that's nicely displayed. Oh, look at that. I love the greenery around it and the table in the middle, the displays. So nice. Oh, that is adorable. So stinking cute. That one's kind of bare. That's a no for me. Here's another one. There's a little bit of room to walk around here, but it's just overwhelming. Another one, you can't walk in, too afraid to touch anything. Is anyone else like me? I'm like, when I see glassware, I'm like, get away from it. Erica, you're going to break something. Especially in an antique store. The baskets up above are kind of cool. I like that they put lights in that cabinet. They got the drawer pulled out with more inventory in there. That's a good idea. This one's not bad. There's a lot to look at, but plenty of room to move around in. Love this one. Everything is beautifully displayed. So cute. Okay, so here is another one displayed so nicely. So much stuff. Love the use of the pegboard. I love when they display things in things that are for sale. It's kind of unfortunate when someone like buys like the bucket or the tray that all the products are in, because then you gotta like just find a place for it. But I think it's a great use of what you're selling. You know what I mean? So cute. So here is one of the top stories. It is a pretty big mall, as you guys can see. So here's one vendor. I don't know how I feel about this one. I can tell that it's like the same person, that he obviously has a bunch of booths. And I say he because there's no way a woman would display stuff like this. At least I think. I'm sure all my women out there agree. But everything's on the floor. I don't know. I wouldn't want to buy something that's just been like kicked around on the floor. You know what I mean? Really cluttered stuff under the tables, on top of the tables. They're just old folding tables that are like really dirty, and tiered shelves on top of tiered shelves. They're all bowing in, as you can see. Everything's stacked on top of each other. I wouldn't even want to dig through this, risk the whole table collapsing on you. Oh my gosh, look at that. I love those vintage jars. But again, more folding tables with more tiered displays that are like bowing in. Could you imagine that table collapsing with all that stuff on it? It's just too much. It's too much. Just so much stuff. I feel like they could be way better displayed. More shelves on top of tables. Okay, this one's not bad. Lots of product to look at. Love the use of the hutch because that's for sale also. Everything's pretty nicely displayed. Love that display back there with the lights. That is so cool. Yeah, this is a good booth. Ooh, I love that this vendor hung all their jewelry with chicken wire that was in a frame. How they hung the stuff on the walls and on, looks like an old door right there. That is awesome. Clothing rack. That is a awesome display. Love that. Love the cabinet. Ooh, and she put like, I don't know if that's like a drop cloth or laminate or something on the wall. A mirror. Say hi. He is not happy that we've been here for hours. Everything is beautifully displayed in here. I absolutely love this. I like that the sizes are separated. Everything's easily accessible and beautifully displayed. Love this one. Alright guys, well there you have it. That's where I'm going to leave you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please let me know by giving me a big thumbs up. As always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop a comment down below. I would love to hear what you guys think. And if you're watching this video and you're not already subscribed to my channel, then make sure you click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.